And as hundreds of police race to capture this killer before he can kill again, families are grieving unimaginable loss and heartbreak. Our next guest's son, Joseph, is one of the victims. He managed the bar and grill where the second series of shootings took place. He was told that his son heroically tried to stop the gunman from killing others. Joseph's father, Leroy Walker, joins me. Good evening, sir. And, I can't tell you how sorry I am for you this evening.
Thank you. Thank you to be with you.
Can you tell me, sir, a little bit about your son?
Well, I can tell you that he's done many things in our community. He's managed Shemingis for quite a few years now. He plays many sports, and many of them are inside sports, pool, darts, and other things that they may do. He's got thousands of followers, many friends over the years. He's been in this kind of environment for many years, helping people out, getting a business to be a better and bigger business than it is when he joins it. He's helped Kathy and Dave, which are the owners, Kathy LaBelle and Dave LaBelle of Shemingis, as well as the station. My son has been a great person for the community. He's helped many, many people out in many different ways. Well known, thousands of friends. He'll be missed by many, and I believe many will miss him.
As I hear your description of your son, it doesn't surprise me that he is said to have been someone who tried to protect others. It's like, it's certainly, your description is consistent with what we're hearing about your son.
My son, as I've raised my kids, I think I've raised them to be proud, willing to give whatever they need to sacrifice to help somebody. And I believe that's what Joey did that night. I believe he was hoping to stop this person and save lives, and I'm proud of him for that. I'm sorry that I've lost him, but he's been a great kid. I'm gonna miss him so much. It's unreal.
It's like, so many shootings I've covered over the years, and you never think it's going to happen to your community. I mean, it's like, Lewiston, this is a nice place in Maine. Lots of places in the country. You never think something so horrible is going to happen. They're just people are at a bowling alley or in a bar or a restaurant, and suddenly this.
Yeah, this is a nightmare. I would have never in my life believed that this was going to happen in our two cities. I just... for the life of me, I just never thought that this type of action would happen, especially to take so many lives and leave people so long in the dark. All of us families we were scared to death for our loved ones. We couldn't get any information. The two communities weren't ready for such an action, and everybody was lost, mixed up, couldn't get answers. We couldn't communicate with the police that were working with the scene. Nobody would give. They should have had a number that we could have at least talked to the state law enforcement. The FBI were here by midnight. They should have set up a call for us people. I sat, and my daughter sat, the grandchildren sat, stepmother sat, over 14 hours. Boy, he didn't put one answer. And nobody out there knew how to give it. I didn't really think it was worth bothering with until they get done doing all of their so-called investigations. Terrible way to run the law enforcement agency, not giving people a number. There should have been an emergency number. They have this, what they call emergency hotline, that comes out on your phone to say this is a disaster. This was a disaster. To me, it was a disaster. I lost my son out of this. 14 hours later, they come there. Oh, I'm sorry that I got to give you the bad news. Sorry doesn't take 18 hours or 14 hours or 10 hours off from the needles and pins and the broken heart that we all sat. And not only my family, other families. I sat with other families last night in the hospital for over 4 hours, the middle school for over 3 hours. And then I came home and I sat by myself, cried and prayed. The rest of the night, morning hours, whatever we want to call them, all the way to until I got a freaking call from my ex-wife saying, you better go down to your son's wife's house because they're on their way to talk to her. I knew last night that there was no chance my son was going to be alive. But you don't do this to people. In the United States of America, we're supposed to be better than this. In Maine, we're supposed to be better than this. These type of things don't happen in these two communities. We need to be better. There needs to be better training. Our police department, whatever else we got working for us, are all zipped mouths because of the state police or the FBI. We can't do that. I have people in this city that are my friends and knew that my son was dead and they couldn't tell me because they got to have a zipped mouth. That is totally baloney, totally baloney. I have people that work for the fire department that knew my son was dead. They couldn't tell me. They couldn't tell their own kids. They couldn't tell their own best friend.
It's just terrible. I just,
we're ass backwards.
I know words are just so empty at this point, and I can only say that I'm very sorry, and nobody should have to go through this, and I'm very sorry, Mr. Walker. And I know your son, your son, from what I understand, was a pretty amazing kid.
He was. He was a great boy. My great son to me. I couldn't ask for anybody any better. I've got my other sons, and I praise all of them. And I pray to God that I don't lose any more. I lost a daughter 25 years ago in a car accident and went through this same thing. And now I've lost a son to a shooter. It's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. It empties your whole body, heart, mind. You don't know if you're coming or going. Just awful. And I feel so sorry for all the rest of the people that are going through what I had to go through. Hopefully they all know. It's just awful that, especially if they lost them.
I know. Well, like I said, my words are empty, and I understand that. And the only thing I can say is that I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, telling us about your son. And I don't know what else to say to you, but to thank you for coming on, sir.
Thank you, and I'm praying for all the rest of the families, and I pray that this never happens again in our community. And I don't want it to happen anyways, not just here, anyways. And thank you for having me on.
Well, listening to you, though, I want to say the other thing is your son has a great father, too. I mean, your kindness, is obvious. Thank you, sir. And